Hey everyone, alright, it's Tuesday morning after Raw. I'm in my kitchen, I got my coffee. Let's talk about it. So I began to watch the show downstairs with my husband, and then in the 10 o'clock hour, I went upstairs because that's normally my bedtime, and I finished watching it on the TV as I got ready and as I, went to bed. Um, Honestly, probably not going to touch on any of the wrestling matches because there was so much other stuff going on in this show. So of course, let's talk about the Cody thing, the Cody whole storyline. I do want to touch on R-Truth because, I love me some R-Truth. But, of course, we open with Cody, and I thought this promo was better than last week. And this is why I liked it better. I feel like last week he was pushing too hard into the crass, too hard into, the borderline un-PG era stuff. And last night, I feel like he kind of got a better balance of where he needs to be as the babyface in this whole story. Of course, our big surprise was The Rock coming out in Chicago. Huge pop because he hasn't been in Chicago yet. So Bully Ray had a really interesting point where you hear these big pops for The Rock, it's because they haven't seen him in so long. So no matter what, they're going to pop him. But, great chance, great everything, great promo, great stare down. What did he say? We don't know. We still kind of we don't know what direction Rock's going in because he clearly does these things where you're I don't think he fully supports the bloodline, but then, well, what happened later in the show? After that, there was a match. I want to talk about CM Punk. As always, a great promo. I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. He's starting to grow on me a little bit. I'm trying to give him a chance. I just don't get the shtick, but I really loved everything with him and Drew. Drew looked like the heel of all heels. Drew is just leaning in and going for it, and I'm here with him for this ride of him being a heel. Seth Rollins coming out. I loved all that. I thought it was all really, really good. I think it set up the dynamic of everything, and I'm kind of happy. At first I was oh, CM Punk as a special referee would be amazing. Kind of glad they're not, because I feel depending on his recovery time, they're trying to plant seeds and build something for when he comes back, and I feel him being involved in that and maybe doing something that one of them is mad at because they feel it wasn't unfair would be too long of a payoff, if that makes sense. So I think him on commentary is a good place to start building whatever they're building in that whole shtick. All right. I gotta talk about R-Truth because of course we had a tag team match was ended in I think a disqualification. I don't know. Double disqualification. I don't know. But Judgment Day came out and ruined it. But I just love R-Truth so much. He's so sweet. He's so cute. And I'm still I feel what they're building right now, and I don't know if they're building it for after WrestleMania or if they're building it as part of WrestleMania. What I'm seeing though is Judgment Day, bad faction. This bad faction. And then these good guys, and they're building this clash to happen between the two groups. Very similar to what they're kind of building with the bloodline now, right? Because at the end of the show, you have Jay, you have the two brothers coming out, you have Seth and Cody coming out to defend their friend, and again, this good guys versus bad guys faction, dueling it out for for everything, for the health of the WWE. And so I'm just curious where they're going. I like the Drew spot, and what I loved best about the Drew spot, and this is what I love about, I don't know, it's the Camerons, it's this era in the WWE, it's just, I don't know, it's something special that they do, which is as you are watching R-Truth, Awesome Truth, DIY, and New Day talk in the background, you saw Drew McIntyre, who was still in his kilt, so it was very easy to tell it was Drew McIntyre, talking with Paul Heyman. And I was what's this about? Because nothing happens on TV for nothing. there's always a purpose behind everything you see, and there was a purpose, and it led us to the end where Drew is lining himself up with Bloodline, or the bad guy. So that brings to me, okay, so our Judgment Day and the Bloodline gonna join forces? I don't know. I don't think they have enough time to set that for WrestleMania. Personally, my opinion. But I could be wrong. And I'm willing to go along for the ride. With all that, of course, the end of the show. We gotta talk about that. Before we get to the end of the show, we gotta talk a little bit about Becky and Rhea. Great promo. I think they're really setting it up. You know, like Becky, of course, is coming into this match as the underdog, just size-wise, physically, she's the underdog. I just found it to be a very interesting promo. The use of Becky Lynch's daughter in it. Becky's they always say the best promos are when some of it is true. So I think Becky talking about her dad and the proudest thing she is to be a mom. Just so much truth that was weaved into the storyline that made you go like, come on, let's go. And it's interesting because it's an interesting dynamic because they're both loved, right? Like, Rhea Ripley is not really a heel. She's a heel when she's around Dominic. She's a heel when she's with the Judgment Day. But, like, people love Mommy. So it's an interesting dynamic. I don't know. It's, like, cool to see how they're trying to weigh out. But I just don't feel like the audience is ever going to turn against Rhea Ripley. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen there. All right. End of the show. The big brawl. We know. Running. Drew McIntyre takes out Seth Rollins. Sorry, my light went out. Okay, so all the things are happening. You see Cody run back, fighting off with Solo. I believe he was a Solo Sikoa. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the Bloodline members. And then, of course, The Rock attacks Cody. We get these great behind-the-scenes things with... Also, just insider question, and, I don't go into insider baseball that much on wrestling, but when were, like, shots to the head allowed in? Because there was, like, a garbage can to the head on poor Cody. I'm just curious. I mean, like, it was definitely done safely. I know there's, like, tons of concussion protocols. I'm sure there's a reason why it's allowed. But I just thought, like, no, shots to the head was a rule now. So, I don't know. That's insider baseball. That it'd be interesting to know, but also I'm not going to lose sleep over it, personally. All right, so that whole thing, I mean, they're just with the belts and the blood and, like, okay, one, it's not real blood. We all know that. You can tell by looking at it. Nor do I want Cody to cut himself. I'm really, like, I love the Attitude Era, but I'm fine with blading never happening again, personally. I just am. I mean, and yes, we got great moments. We got Shawn Michaels in Hell in a Cell. We got Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, where he passes out in the pile of his own blood and stuff. But I'm fine, and there's enough going on and enough storylines and things and danger and like, to keep me entertained where I don't need the blood, if that makes sense. All that said, they use blood capsules to do the whole thing with The Rock and Cody, and again, like you kind of are questioning what direction Rock's going in, and then he does something like this, and you're like, he's just a heel. He's a horrible, horrible heel. And so I don't know what's going to happen next. I was like, the whole thing with his mom, his mom's going to be ringside now. With all the time she's been mentioned, Mrs. Rhodes is going to be ringside. But yeah, great and shocking. I was like, oh my goodness, because I thought The Rock was done for the night. I thought he got, like, left the building, like everyone else probably did. So that was a super shocking event and a great way just to keep this rivalry going. But in all of this, the question is, where is Roman? Because The Rock was kind of like being the boss, the final boss over the bloodline with no Roman there. So I guess that's what we're going to find out on Friday. All right. Thanks for hanging with me. Always, I love talking wrestling with you. And I will see you all back Saturday. Bye for now.